All right, gentlemen, let's get started. First of all, congratulations to the both of you. This movie was outstanding. And Jett, you did such a fantastic job, honestly. So let's start with Maxwell. Thank you for sharing your story. I, as a Jewish woman, raised Jewish kids. We have to keep telling these stories. We have to keep telling people what happened. How hard was it for you to share this the first time that you sat down and you decided, I'm going to write this book and tell my story? Was that a very hard process for you, Maxwell?
Yes, it was very hard. It took me close to 50 years to decide to write a book. I hate it. I didn't want to go back to my past. It was so painful that I figured for 50 years, even my family knew very little about my past. The past was not a subject very well received in Canada at the time. I want you to understand that. They were not very happy that I was a Holocaust survivor. A Holocaust survivor was like something like a murderer, a bum, nobody knew what it is. In reality, they did not, especially the Jewish population in Canada did not understand. What do you mean a Holocaust survivor? He has no family. Who is he? Where does he come from? Who did he belong to? How could we check who he is? I had a very hard time. So in the beginning, when I arrived to Canada, I shied away from it. I didn't want to. They were called Mockies. They were called names. They invented names. Anything bad about the Holocaust survivor. So I figured I'll forget about it. I will not think about it. I will not tell my family if I will have. I will not discuss it. It doesn't exist. Until one day, when I got married to Tina, she says, and I told her the story, and she listened, and she says, "You have a tremendous story to tell. Why don't you want to tell it to people?" What do you mean tell to people? Nobody wants to listen to it. Nobody ever asked me where you're coming from. Nobody ever asked me how you live and how you survive. Tell the story. Tell the story. Put it down, the story on paper. Let people know what really happened. Let the world know what's happening.
Yeah,
absolutely. It didn't happen overnight. Maybe it took 10 years.
Yeah.
Maybe 10 years. And over the 10 years, slowly, she convinced me.
And well, we're glad that she convinced you. Jett, I have to commend you, as I say, for such a spectacular performance. This could not have been an easy one for you. In a way, you are playing a superhero here, I have to tell you, and I wanted to know, first off, were you, how much education do you get in school about the Holocaust?
That's so crazy you mentioned that. Yeah, for me, I come from a smaller town in BC, and I've talked to my friends about it. They know that I've done this project, and all of them, like grade 8 to even grade 11, 12, have no clue, and they don't even touch over it.
Wow.
It's so brushed away and put under the rug that no kids nowadays know and have any knowledge of the Holocaust, and it's taken so lightly and so many jokes are made. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. And so when you got this presented to you, tell me a little bit about that process. You reading Maxwell's story, getting to know him, by the script, and then maybe your collaboration with him. Tell me a little bit how you kind of got into his skin to play this.
Yeah, for sure. I read the script and then read the book. And I think reading the book really helped me prepare a lot, because it went so, not that the movie didn't, but the book went into every little detail of what happened to him.
Right.
Day 1 to day like 600. So having that and calling and meeting Max just over Zoom and asking him questions and seeing how he felt and what happened to him and what he went through, even from certain points of what I'd read, really helped me embody the character. And working once I was there helped me a ton. Sorry, I'm like remembering. Like when a specific part that cemented that I knew that I was doing great work is when and really becoming the character, is when we met over in person. I'd been doing a really emotional scene, and I was crying in the scene.
Yeah.
And so I then went out and I went straight to Max and just hugged him, and we cried in each other's arms for like a solid 2 minutes. And that's when I knew that I was truly embodying Maxwell.
Yeah. So Maxwell leads me to the next question. Maxwell, when you watched Jett do such a great performance, and how much he just, it was so real for him, I would think, he really embraced it. What was like for you to watch him play you? And then of course you have to relive this again.
I had a different feeling when I met Jett. When I got out of the car in the woods, there were the forests. The forest changed automatically to me to the forest of my hiding. I was not there. I was not meeting anybody. I was just in the forest.
Right.
And I see getting out of the car, and I see a little boy running towards me with running and grabbing me. I didn't see Jett. I saw Yannick.
Right.
I saw Yannick in the forest running to me, crying. And I started to cry. I started to cry. I didn't know it's him. I didn't know it's me that he is running. How could he run to me if I am me?
Right.
The only person who could run to me was Yannick. When they caught me, and I came back to the forest, the scene of him running remind me exactly of the scene when Yannick ran to me and he said to me, "You came back to me."
Wow.
I broke down.
Oh,
I'll tell you something. All of them broke down. Every single one and the set broke down.
oh, I can imagine. And that, that's funny. That leads me to my question.
This is the way I feel.
Oh, yeah.
And I want to tell you something else about it.
Sure.
This boy, this young boy, when I came to the forest, they had one scene that they played. You remember when Yannick dies?
Yeah.
And that's what they actually filming that day. And I see Yannick and myself in the bunker, and he dies.
Wow.
And he says to me, he tells him, Yannick, wake up, Yannick. I started to cry.
I'm sure.
And I was crying.
Yeah.
Finished the scene. He didn't play himself, that me. He was me. Because when he ran in to this tent He was crying in both of us on our shoulders, maybe for a half an hour.
Yeah. Oh,
This,
yeah,
this,
not surprised.
This, he was not him playing. He is not him. It was me really acting. This is how he acted that scene.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Well, yeah, unbelievable is right. And Jett, I have to, ask you this because, you're leading me into my next questions, which is lovely. I appreciate it because Jett, as a young boy who says that you're not really learning a lot about, and having done this movie, I'm hopefully it will spread the word more. This is there are a number of very good Holocaust films at the festival this year, which I'm so happy about. But as a young boy your age playing Maxwell, who really went through this, experiencing this, to put yourself in his shoes and to think, had this happened to you, had this Yannick had been your best friend in real life, did you ever go there and think like, wow, these are stories that need to be told?
Yeah, no, of course, for sure. I would think like every day, honestly, like how could he have done it? Well, first
Yeah.
of all, like I don't know if anyone going back at this point could have went through that and came out and been doing what he's doing now, like talking about it, writing about it, and going and speaking on what had happened to him. And I'm glad he is, because it's, as you said, something that very much needs to be talked about, as well as any other story and person that has gone through this.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maxwell, how much collaboration did you have making the film, speaking with the director, or, Rebecca, I know that she had done a documentary, but were you kind of hands-on with this production, or did you kind of leave it to her, trust her to tell your story?
My story was told already through the cheating Hitler.
Yeah.
It brought back a different thinking for me. Cheating Hitler was very successful.
Mm-hmm.
And here is Rebecca coming back, and she wants to continue. Why does she want to continue? She must have had some vision, I say. She must have some kind of vision that she wants. Why is she pursuing it? She was successful with the cheating Hitler. No, she said it. I figured if she wants me to make a movie, but she wanted to make the movie before HarperCollins published the book. So that means she must have the feeling, the need to tell this story to the world, not just to make a movie, to tell it. She's trying hard to tell the story. And and I went with her, and I was happy. I wanted to. I helped a lot with the Holocaust survivors.
Yes.
During my life, but this was something more than I could do. And it is more.
Yeah.
And I hope the world will respond to it.
Oh, the world's going to respond to it. There's no
I
question. Yeah. You don't have to hope. It's going to happen. We're going to help spread this word. There's no question. There's no question. Just to wrap it up, how is something like this? You've done other things before. You're such a talented young man. I know we're going to be talking to you for many years to come. You've got this nipped in the bud. But how do you change as a young boy working on a film like this? How does it change you?
I think not only because of the material of what I did, but the position I was in doing this film. It was my first lead in any feature film.
Mm-hmm.
So that in itself really helped my work ethic, sorry. And helped me understand how hard anything else can be. But as playing Max, I'd already had an understanding of the Holocaust. Like my great grandmother, she escaped the Holocaust and went to a farm where like what Max did,
Yeah.
except they took her and then she went to London. And so I had an understanding, but then doing this and reading this book and reading the script and acting it out and meeting Max, it's deepened my understanding for anything that I would have probably ever read or understood, because I got to feel that and be there emotionally and mentally.
Yeah, I can imagine. And Maxwell, just the last question for you.
I felt it.
Having the opportunity to meet the young baby that you saved in the woods and then meet her so many years later, I have no words. When we see that footage at the end of the film, I thank you. I mean, honestly, what was that like for you to finally meet her?
You know, this meeting was happy because she lived.
Yeah.
She survived. She has children. She built a family.
Yeah.
She continued life. She has grandchildren. But to me, it was a happy occasion.
Oh, for sure.
More happy. But to me, on the other hand, was quite sad. At what cost? Look at the cost to me, this baby. When I looked at her, yes, she is an older woman. I didn't see her so. I saw her just as a baby, because every time I talk about my past, I am not with you, and I'm not in this room, beautiful room. I am in the forest. I'm having the baby pulling out from the mother's arms,
Right.
alive. But this part connects me with Janek. From one side, I didn't like the baby because I lost. I don't know if you could realize, really, anybody could. I lost the best friend ever in my entire life.
Yeah.
For life, not
Yeah.
just a lost a friend. Because I was involved in his death to some extent, because I pulled him into that water. And not that I pulled him in, we went to, I don't know why I went into the water, even to take the baby. What for? What do I need a baby?
Right.
First, I didn't know it's a baby. I figured, is the woman shot? You have to help her, she's moving.
Yeah.
But the woman was dead, and I had a baby in my hand. It created such a problem that with Yannick, and then he dies because of that. This is seeing the happiness of that woman and comparing it to my loss. It was, I could not evaluate totally that I am free now. Yes, he's a hero. Yes, I said he's everything, but I am still guilty.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah.
Save a baby, but I am guilty.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a tough predicament. Yeah, listen, we could talk about this for hours and hours, but I just want to thank you both for your time today. I really, really appreciate you taking the time to speak with me today. And I really just hope everybody goes to see this movie, which I'm sure that they will. And I think tomorrow afternoon there's a little reception, and I'm going to meet you both in person. So we'll see you there.
Okay, great.
I really appreciate it. I'm definitely going to pop over in between my screenings tomorrow. So thank you again for everything. Mazel tov on this, and again, best of luck with everything. Thank you.
Thank you. Nice, great to meet you.
Yeah, you too, guys. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.